Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ArcSaw American 700 preview show. I'm down here with joining me today is Tristan Wilhoit, who is the owner and team principal of the Porsche Brigade, and he will also be driving the 5 car this special weekend. How are you doing?
Fine. It must be fun just taking a summer break from Fallen Alpha for a bit.
Well, first things first is that the big thing about this weekend is the intense car count that we could be seeing. We could be seeing anywhere between 90 to 96 cars attempting the American 700. How do you think that will affect, because you're a full-time team owner, how do you think that will affect like the full-time operations with so many other one-off cars being here?
Well, with that kind of situation when there's more than 42 cars on the grid, I think I would suggest my drivers to actually just stay up front the whole time. Don't do anything stupid. And normally I, myself, would probably just keep in the middle just in case anything goes wrong up front.
Well, another issue you have, though, is what about the middle of the pack, though, with the way Fontana's been, or is going to be, we're expecting, because of, as everybody, as the fans know, that this will be the hottest ArcSaw Elite Series race on record. Temperatures from the start of the American 700 itself are expected to be somewhere between 105 degrees to 110 degrees. So,
Did I miss anything?
that is Tyler Thaber, everybody. He will be he will be attempting to qualify for the American 700 car 88, the 88 car. So, Tyler, how are you doing? We're talking to Tristan Wilhoit as well, who will be driving the 5.
I'm doing all right.
We were just saying, with the enhanced car count, we could be seeing anywhere between 90 to 96 cars on the grid. With the enhanced car count, you're a full-time driver fighting for the championship. How does it, how do you go into, like, the qualifying system? And this can be for Wilhoit, too. How do you go into the qualifying system not knowing if you're going to make it or not?
I honestly just go in and hope for the best. I have a lot of trust in the guys at S3, and I just see what I can do.
Wilhoit, you got anything for that?
I wouldn't doubt S3 would be very good in their Hyundai.
Well,
I
what?
mean, of course,
Oh, go.
continue.
Go.
However, I would expect the S3s to have a little bit more reliability than I would anticipate. I mean, take Allie Nelson, for instance. I mean, she's all aggressive and whatnot, and yet, from what I saw at California, which is pretty stupid, her wrecking her own teammate.
Yeah, I wasn't very happy.
I don't think you would. I would be either if I were in your shoes. But another thing is, there's also the top 10 qualifying session, which means you don't have to screw around with the qualifying races. What do you think will happen in that session? Because you're going to be seeing 90 cars out on track at one time. You could see 90 cars out on track at one time.
What's crazy
I'm
enough
ready.
to me? What's crazy enough to me is that 90 cars on the track. I mean, 90 cars on the track at once. That could be just next to impossible. Getting out in one piece, to say the least.
Well,
Well,
I've heard, though, that there are some teams, like I heard Discover Ohio's talking about going on an opposite cycle, in which we're going to, they'd go out when everybody else would be coming in. They'd go out when the track only has, like, maybe 5-10 cars out on it, do their run, and then come back in as everybody's getting ready to do their next run. They may not get the highest speed out of it, but at least they'll be able to make their way, at least to try and qualify. But I'm going to tell you this, the end of that 90-minute session is going to be pretty insane. Actually, we are going to be talking, I guess we might have an interview lined up with Noah Hart here. Let's see if we can get Noah Hart on the horn here. Noah, this is the ArcSaw radio network. How are you doing, Noah?
Pretty hungry, actually, and a fucking hamburger.
Okay. So what do you think your chances of... We were talking about the qualifying system, and how the qualifying system is going to be a very interesting one. How is, do you think, how do you view your chances of making it in before the qualifying races, like in the top 10 shootout?
I think we got a pretty fast car, and I think that we got a shot to lock ourselves in before the qualifying race. If not, we got a very fast car to win the races for everything for this weekend, actually. And I think that we'll probably be up there in the top 5, top 10 speeds.
I'm thinking that top 10 speed, that top 10 speed chart's going to be remarkably close. We're going to see cars and drivers having really good lap times, and I have a feeling when you get all 90 cars on the track, because I'm going to guess that all of them are going to go out to try and bump people at the end of the session, I'm going to bet that you're going to see some pretty insane bumping.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of intense moments right there with the clock winding down and everything. It's going to be cutting it close for timing and everything, but I'm pretty sure if we don't make it, we'll have a fast enough car for the qualifying race.
Another thing that they were talking about that they were saying would be a factor that I heard from Kenny Myatt, the reigning champion. He said flat out, the qualifying races are a lot longer this year. They're actually a regular ARCSAW Elite Series race distance at 130 miles. So you're going to have practically 230-mile races. So it's not going to be that short dash that we were used to. How does that play into a factor? Because these cars, you have to use the same car that you use in the qualifier for the 700.
Well, it's really going to take more of the pressure off of us drivers more with the longer race. It's not going to be more of a rush to the finish where if you start in the back or the midfield, you got to constantly get past all these slow cars or anything. You're going to be able to bide your time, and if you don't have something right, you can make a pit stop and adjust for it, and it's going to give you a lot more time and effort to try and get into the race itself. So I think that's going to be the best thing about the longer distance.
Daber, Wilhoit, you have anything on that?
Yes, I do have something about that. I feel about the longer distance is, well, it separates the weak from the strong. It makes sure that the idiots who only got in the race because ARCSAW is going to lighten the requirements for this race only for more entries. It pretty much guarantees that they're headed home, and it allows those who are really ready and prepared for the race to have a chance of making it in. I mean, if you're not ready, you shouldn't be able to race.
Well, one thing that Kenny Myatt said, and we're going to have to go to a commercial break here in a minute, but one thing that Kenny Myatt said is that these cars, at the least, are going to have 830 miles on them, plus what you run in the qualifying top 10 shootout. So there's a lot bigger chance in the actual race that your car could break, because a lot of these cars are not meant to go 700 miles as is, but now we're going to be possibly putting on, with practice and everything, nearly 1,000 miles on one car. I mean, we're going to have to go to commercial. Go, Noah.
The RPMs have really been turning, and with these slower underfunded cars and everything, this is what the longer distance is really going to hurt them the most. With these one-off drivers, they're going to really have to fight it hard to try and get in these races for the American 700, because the longer distance is going to put a lot more wear on teams like that.
We're going to have to go to commercial break here. The ARCSAW Radio Hour is brought to you by Sirius Satellite XM Radio. Listen to it. Welcome back to the ARCSAW Radio Hour. As you can see, now we actually have something up. We have our listing of one-off drivers, and Let's start off with Discover Ohio bringing the #1 here with Kenny Myatt.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see one of my good friends back in the series again. He's one of the few drivers that I started racing with back in the early season, and it's gonna be good to see him on the track. I know he's gonna be one of the big threats in the 700.
Tristan, you're in the 5 car this year. What do you have to say?
Must be nice coming back after a couple of years from racing on close-wheeled cars. Well, that's right now I'm racing open-wheelers with Delta, and I'm doing pretty good so far. Anyway, about the American 700, I would probably think of myself as kind of an underdog, to say the least. I mean, my last one was here back in Season 9, but that was a horrific race.
We're going to skip down to Ivan Brazenkopf in the 13 Red Bull car. It's actually great to see Brazenkopf, who has attempted practically every American 700, to actually get a very high-powered car. Anything on Brazenkopf, you guys?
Nope.
Yeah, actually.
I never heard
He's
of him,
fast,
actually.
20.
He's only raced in every American 700, Noah.
Oh.
Yeah, you dumb as hell.
All right, going down a little bit more, we got the Thunders are bringing 2 cars. They'll be pretty interesting. Audi is talking about going full-time next year. How do you think Audi's going to do?
I think Audi will.
I think I think it'd be cool.
If they
Well-
can hold the cars together,
Okay.
if the cars can hold together, they'll be okay.
Fuel Bros Racing, Noah. What do you got to say to yourself?
Well, we came really big for this event right here. We did a lot of effort in this one race right here. We're going for the win. Me and my brother are. That's all we're focused for.
We've got Chevy Development. This team won the American 700 last year with Nick Mace, and they're bringing the car that won the American 700 last year. They got it out of the museum, the Arkansas Museum in Ohio, which is where the winning car goes for a year. They took it out of there, and that car is actually going to run on Saturday night. Nick Mace's race-winning car. And the 360 still doesn't have a driver. That was your car last year. We'll see how that does. That car was pretty quick, if I remember. They're using the same car
again. It was fun
again.
to race in.
Horizon Group. Horizon Group is looking really strong in tire testing because they took off to a tire test.
Oh,
And then they've got Cooper Cyron. Cyron, I think, is one of the best young drivers out of Lights. And Will, you know a little bit more about Lights than I do.
Cooper Siren at 14, he won on debut against Eddie Champadkar in the last corner of the last lap at Sebring. Such an incredible performance by someone so young. I mean, I would like to see him win the Lights Championship his first year, to be honest.
And then they also have veteran Sean Perkins. That's actually their Sony Cup Series team, which is where Noah got his start. Horizon Group's pretty much just bringing over their SCS program, throwing in a turbo V6 car, changing the numbers a bit, and seeing if they're going to win. And I guess they're pretty quick.
They look awful fast in practice.
You have Yamp Motorsports with Eric Silverfox, James's brother, I believe, and Kyle Nova. Kyle Nova was in one of the Mitsubishis last year, wasn't he? He actually qualified for the race.
I hate to burst your bubble here, but I think Nova was in a Toyota.
Oh, yes, he was in a Toyota. I apologize for that. Kerry Frontline Racing, they're a very spirited bunch, but I don't think they're going to qualify.
Yeah, I love the effort by some of these guys, though, putting in the effort to try and make it, but
I'm also noticing
they're way off the pace.
I'm also noticing like the racing teams, one of them that I don't think will make it. Mitsubishi Development, they actually, I think, put either 1 or 2 cars into the 700 last year. They have Alexandra Davidson, who I think is related to Zayden Davidson. Zolt Dormitory, who is a very high-powered Hungarian European touring car champion. And Esteham Padkar. Eddie Padkar, the driver who I think is probably the biggest star out of Lights right now, if it isn't Cyron. it's Eddie Champadkar, and he's going to be interesting to watch. I think he'll make it because he's strong. Action Terra went over to the USC whatever, the other series, and they're going over there. And they actually are bringing pretty high-powered cars. They were another one at a tire test who looked really strong into the tire test. And Action Terra, well, they weren't strong. I don't even think they qualified last year. I think they put one of them in. They put one of their 2 cars in, and it didn't do very well. I think it blew up like 10 laps in or something like that. Professional OP Development, they were around last year. Don't expect them to do anything. China Dragon didn't look as incompetent as they were last year, but they have a 3-car team coming in, and they're still going to be pretty slow. Fingai Saitomi, we don't even know if they're going to be on the grid. Fingai Saitomi. I mean, Fingai Saitomi, we've been just saying that they might not make it. Or they might not even make it to the track, which is going to be pretty sad because that's a 4-car team. That's why we don't really know how many cars are going to attempt the American 700s because we haven't seen Fingai Saitomi on the track yet. Ford Alliance Racing Team, they still have to confirm drivers, but they look pretty quick. Here comes some of the teams that I think are a little bit out there. Team Illuminati confirmed with driver Luminati. And
That's a terrible name.
Yeah, I was over there. I was over there with him earlier before practice, and I was trying to give him some tips on how to run the low line, how to run the top, trying to get some speed with the draft because we know that he's really off the pace. He's just really hoping for a prayer on this one.
Team 420 Blaze It. That's the marijuana. Wait, is Team 420 Blaze It even on the grid?
No, they aren't.
I heard that it ain't even at the track yet.
Alright, well, I'm thinking they might not make it either. Team KIR, they look quick. They're bringing TVRs they're bringing a TVR to this race. A TVR Speed 12. That thing's gonna be quick with Michael White behind the wheel. He's a Sony Cup Series driver, isn't he?
Yes.
Did he win a championship in SCS?
He came 3rd in points in Season 7. That's all he's done.
Daniel Voiles in Discover Alaska.
Really surprised Mason Gordon ain't in that lineup there.
I'm really surprised Daniel Voiles has a ride.
I have no idea why Voiles decided to take up with Discover Alaska anyway.
Voiles is one of them guys that's put in a lot of entries for these big special races but hasn't even got in.
Alright, we gotta speed up a little bit here if we're gonna make this commercial break before we go into the actual final part. If you remember the old ARCSA Elite Series days, you remember the old RacerBot program, they're bringing X6000 to this race.
I remember racing with a RaceBot 2000. I mean, this is gonna be something else.
Alright, Team My Little Pony Racing is Magic. With Binky Louvier.
Why?
What a faggot.
Girl driver.
Ouch.
Team MLG 360 No Scope with Max Newworth as the driver. They're another team. They're another driver that I don't. We only have a minute left to get through the rest of these. We have Squids Racing, who looks okay. Dodge Developments looks fast. Visa Lola might actually be bringing a second car instead of just bringing Cameron Harple. And FedEx Racing is bringing 3 cars. They look quick. All right, Will Hoyt, what do you need to say? Because we only have, I think, we're getting down to like 35 seconds.
Binky Louvier during the ARCSA Lights qualifier, she got into a massive crash by hitting the back of Nicholas Gunther, and she went into the catch fence. However, everyone was okay. What a miracle. She managed to get cleared from the medical crew.
Alright, we're going to come up to your final part here of the ARCSA Radio Hour, brought to you by Sirius Satellite XM Radio. The number one place to be watching radio stuff. So, final part coming up here. Welcome back to the ARCSA Radio Hour, the final part of the ARCSA Radio Hour, brought to you by Sirius Satellite XM Radio. We're we're just going to be talking with these three drivers and what their predictions for the race are on. They can't vote for themselves, but who they think will be either contending for the win or will win the race. So let's start off with Thaber. Tyler Thaber.
I hope to God that RaceBot would win it, but that's not going to happen. So my realistic pick would probably be Ivan Brazenkopf.
Wow, that's a
Brazenkopf
step. That's a step. Remember, Red Bull did win the American 700 when it was at Texas Motor Speedway 2 years ago. Wilhoit, who's your pick to win?
To be honest, with the fastest team out there, I would probably think the Ferrari Tuomas Saarinen.
Tuomas Saarinen, he qualified second on debut last year in the American 700. Noah, who do you think's going to win?
Well, my boys, my old-time race drivers, my good old friends, I'm telling you, Kenny Myatt and Nick Mace, they're looking beast mode out there. They're back to their old form, like their old times, and they're out there beast moding it in practice, and you need to keep an eye out on them in race day.
So you think Nick Mace can go
I
back
think
to
Nick
back?
Mace has got a good, I think he's got a good chance to go back to back. He's got a fast race car.
All right, dark horses, Thaber.
Dark horses. I'd say Will Hoyt.
Wilhoit, dark
Will Hoyt
horse.
has a shot.
As a dark horse
Yeah.
myself, probably since I did win here way long ago.
No, who's your pick for a dark horse, Wilhoit?
To be honest, my dark horse would be Ivan Brazenkopf.
Oh, the one who Thaber thinks is going to win. And Noah, your dark horse pick.
Yeah.
Well, my Squid boys, Zebulou and Jonathan, they are kind of struggling. I'm just praying they get into the fucking race. But really been talking to this one guy. He's become my little new best friend. But Lumen Oxy, he's really cool. I hope he gets in this race. I really would like to see him win it.
All right, my pick for the race win, I'm going out here, James Shelley. James Shelley's been really quick in this 700 in the past. I think Shelley could win it. My dark horse, I'm going to go a little bit down the order. Go with a kind of a surprise here. I'm going to go Jessica Shelton. That ARCSA America is quick.
Also,
And 94
Dylan
car
Young.
will be quick. Dylan Young,
I think
in the
Dylan
84?
Young might be a surprise.
but I still think Shelton got screwed. Shelton's never gotten into the American 700. She attempted last year and fell out in the qualifier. So
Yeah.
she's never been in the American 700 before, but she is quick. And those ARCSA Americas, they've really adapted their cars.
But
Well-
the thing is,
Oh, go.
these qualifiers can make or break your whole career. Just being an American 700 makes your whole season, but winning it, it's your whole career. This is going to be one of the biggest races ever, and for me, and my standpoint of this is going to be something to watch.
Well,
I don't doubt
let me
that.
close out with what Kenny Myatt said before when I talked to him privately. He's won 3 championships, yet his career doesn't seem to be finished because he's never won at Indianapolis, and he's never won the American 700. And that's kind of how important this American 700 is. For Tyler Thaber, Tristan Wilhoit, and Noah Hart, I'm signing off. That is the ARCSA Radio Hour. We'll see you for the post coverage after the American 700. Welcome back to the ARCSA Radio Hour, which is brought to you by Sirius XM Radio, Sirius Satellite XM Radio. Please listen to it. Obviously you are, or else you wouldn't be hearing us. One of the major traditions in the American 700, and it's not a good tradition, and I'm pretty sure virtually all of you have been involved in it. I don't know if you've all been involved in it, but is the American 700 always seems to have a big one. Also known as a huge multi-car crash, takes out quite a lot of cars. We've seen it in virtually all stages of the race, which is very interesting. But we'll start off with Noah here. Noah, you've been around in ARCSA longer than anybody else. You're a 2-time champion. How how do you avoid a multi-car crash like that?
Well, there's really nowhere to hide almost. You can be in the back and just have nowhere to go. You can't slow down for it, and then you can be in the front, and that's where it all happens. It really depends on where you are. You really want to try and be on the bottom if anything starts like that, where you can get away from the wreck. But there's really no getting away from it, and these high speeds, close drafting here at California, Fontana, it's just really hard to get away. That's why we've always seen it in these races, and it's something we've always tried to miss, but there's no escaping it sometimes.
Will Hoyt, have you ever been involved in the American 700 Big One? I think, Noah, you have. I think, Noah, you've been in it before.
I've been in a lot of wrecks here, and that's what's taken me out of a lot of chances at the win.
I know you blew up last year, but... and the interesting thing that I can see out of it is we've seen such a difference in when the big one has happened across the board, from even track to track, and even just here at Fontana. We saw it in the first running of the American 700. We saw it on lap 312, and that was the one where Aaron Perkins, then Aaron McCormick, got hurt pretty bad in that wreck, if you guys remember.
That was terrible.
She got that was a very vicious hit. I remember Andreas Allen got turned into the inside wall and ricocheted back up the track into turn 3. I remember that in the second running of the American 700, which was also at Fontana, it happened on like lap 2. I remember it happened right away, and a bunch of cars got swooped out in it. Or it happened really early. I think it was like lap 2. Or it might have been a little later than that.
The thing with the American 700 is it's just a big endurance race. You gotta try all you can to get through everywhere, like all the wrecks, just to be there at the end where it counts the most. And a lot of guys in the American 700 don't get that chance to be there at the end because they're not patient enough, or they just get swooped up in the big ones or the wrecks, or have that engine failures.
Yeah, probably the
going back to the big ones, just to show more disparity, we've had lap 312, which is towards the end of the race. We've had right at the start of the race. We've had right in the middle at Daytona when we had a lap 112, I think we had the big one. At Indianapolis, it was the last lap we had the big multi-car crash.
Okay.
And at Texas, it was like lap 41. So we've seen, and then last year it was like lap 123 or something like that. And it was just the spread across the race that it can happen in is that you really cannot predict when it is going to happen.
Or if there's only going to be one.
Yeah, there's like been a lot of American 700s I've been in, and I've been close on many occasions of getting through the race. No wrecks involved, but just a lot of DNFs have been on my part here. And American 700 is a big race. You want to be able to get to the end of it so you can battle for such a prestigious trophy. But I've never really had much luck of making it to the end of it. As you said, big endurance.
Speaking of leeway, or speaking of a special trophy for this race, is nice leeway into the next topic. The celebrity presence this year. I mean, granted, the American 700's grown a lot since the first one. Now we've got celebrities coming out of nowhere, and I don't know if anybody can go. I know on the ARCSAW website they listed for the pre-race stuff. They listed the celebrities. I know Katy Perry's doing the national anthem, and there's a few other like big celebrities, big singers coming in for this huge concert. Pretty much the concert starts at 12 o'clock and ends at near 7 o'clock p.m. when the race is going to start.
Yeah, the race goes well into the night.
Well, we're going to probably be up till 1 a.m. But how do you feel about the American 700 growing into more of a cultural thing? Because now it's the second biggest sporting event behind the Super Bowl, or third biggest behind the Super Bowl in the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Ariana Grande is going to be there. That's like my little.
She is.
That's my girl.
She is.
That's my girl. That's my girl. I'm gonna try and get a
Kyle-
picture with her, a little selfie.
Kyle Collins
And,
is going to kick your ass for that.
No, you want to go find.
bring it on.
You're gonna go find Ariana Grande and give her a little poem. Roses are red, lemons are sour. Open your legs. Give me-
And we're off the air in Canada.
God damn it, Saber.
Anyway,
What?
but yeah, what do you guys think, though, about the celebrity presence now that the American 700 is challenging the Indy 500 for the biggest auto race in the world, and now we're actually closing in on the Super Bowl for the most watched sporting event in the country? How does that feel, or how does that?
Well, I hope that Katy Perry dresses better than she did for the Super Bowl because she looked like a Cheetos bag. But I think it'll be. I think it's very good for the sport in general. Like we're getting such.
Left shark again.
I don't think
it's
the
really
Sharks.
good.
Arkansas was very clear that the Sharks will not be returning.
Damn it.
Anyway, no, but just for the sport's sake, is it really like boosting the product?
I think it is.
No comment.
Saber just would rather go racing. I could tell.
I'm ready. Not
And
really.
well, when you think about it, though, I think that with the added media presence there, because somebody said this race is going to be broadcasted live in 80 different countries. I mean, how does that really fill in? I mean, now this is like a worldwide broadcast.
First of all,
Well, it's always been named as the World Championships, but now we got the World American 700, I guess, and I never knew there was that many countries. But,
I just found that out today.
I think it's really,
But only
a
7.
good thing that people will be watching, and yeah.
What baffles me is that if you're a two-time Arkansas champion, then how the heck do you not know how many countries there are in the world anyway?
I didn't
There's
know that
only
until
7.
today.
There's only 7.
Shut up, Saber.
That's continents, Saber.
No, it's countries.
You're starting to sound like Nick Mace.
Sound like a squid, you fucking
Wait.
squid. Speaking of squids, they're
Squids
one of the one-off
racing.
teams.
Squid
They're one of the
ra-
one-off teams.
Once we come back, okay, we're gonna have to go to another commercial break, but we're gonna talk about some of the one-off teams here in our final segment of the Arkansas Radio Hour, brought to you by Sirius Satellite XM Radio, and we're taking you to commercials now.